evening and welcome. I'm Bob Pace. I'm your host for this live podcast from Southern California. I'm here to tell you how to fight CPS and tell you how to stop taking your children. And hopefully, I got some insights. Um, I'm a family man. I have 6 children, married for 32 years, and have been where you guys have been. I fought CPS. I've been fighting CPS for over 15 years. 3 of them were very active when they stole my children or trafficked my children, whatever the terminology. My children weren't in imminent danger, but they were taken from me. And that was the sad part. That's the sad part that happens with CPS. They take your children, they're not in imminent danger. And they also lie and cheat, they're not transparent, they don't, um, they don't like you. It's strictly a money game to them. It's $80 billion business, and they like to make lots of money off. Well, before we get started here, I'd like to talk about how you can interact with this podcast. There are several ways. One way is right there, you see my phone number. You can call in right now at 626-698-1990, and you can talk about your CPS case. I'll put you on. I'll put you on the speakerphone, and you can hear all about your case. Now, I have several people that come in, and sometimes the notification isn't sent out. But one of them is Faye from Richmond, so I'm sending her the comment. My headset is broken. I don't know why it's cutting in and out. It shouldn't be. Do you hear me now? Let me make sure all my programs are closed. I tested it before it did so. Hold on a second. Let me make sure. Um, do you hear me okay now? I, okay. I think what it was is maybe some applications were open or whatever. But my headset won't do us any good to afford a new one. I need a new headset. Anyway, I hope you all can hear me. If you can't, tell me. Um, so please call in at 626-698-0990, and you can talk live on the show. Um, hey, hi T Jan. I see you got a comment. That's great. What city and state are you from? What city and state are you from? Yeah, if you're going to text in a comment, there's a couple things I'd like you to have. Um, you can. That's the second way of interacting with the podcast. You type in your comments about your CPS question. What is your CPS question? Let's stick to CPS. CPS stands for the Child Protection System. It's a branch of social service and arm that deals with the protection of children from abuse and neglect, and also deals with family reunification. So please show your name, city, state, or country, and complete with your CPS case. Meaning start from the beginning. If 3 fathers with 3 different children, or you're married, or your partner, or whatever it is, and then what were the allegations that got it all started, and start from the beginning and try to be complete with your case, and that way I can answer the questions and so forth. So, and I did say country because many of you are from other countries calling in, and I certainly don't want to exclude them because they too are suffering with CPS. They too are suffering. Now, A third way is to be a guest on our show. And I have a producer, a show producer named Grace, who works very, very hard behind the scenes, and she will get you on my show as a guest. All you have to do is email her. That's Grace at vincentwdavis.com. vincentwdavis.com. And tell her you want to be on my podcast live as a guest. Now, I have 14 podcasts. I'm on 7 days a week, Monday through Sunday, twice a day. Once at 10 o'clock every morning for 1 hour Pacific Standard Time, except for Sunday, I'm on at 8 o'clock. And at nighttime, I'm on at 7 o'clock at night for 1 hour Pacific Standard Time every day of the week. So all you have to do is say, I want to be on Bob's Wednesday evening podcast, or I want to be on Bob's Saturday morning podcast, or I want to be on his Sunday podcast in the evening. So it's evening, morning, and then Monday through Sunday. And that's all it is. And, I think it's nice to have more than one person in this podcast that makes it go better and can help out with ideas. Now, I'm going to put my phone number back up. And so y'all can start calling in. Now, we have Tay Jan, and she's in the state of Utah. And she has 2 kids. And I just wrapped up my trial for this past Wednesday for termination of parental rights. Well, that's bad. That's bad. Termination of parental rights. I hope you're going to appeal that. You need to appeal that decision. Don't give up your parental rights. Don't sign anything. Why did they terminate your parental rights? What did you do? What do you allege that they allege you did to your children? I need some more information so I can help you out there. Hey, Natalie, I'm glad to see you. I know you're from West Hollywood, California. She's a regular in this room, and she offers some good advice. That's Natalie. She had her children taken when she was in her 30s. So I'm glad to see her there. We have Tay Jean from Utah, Tay Jan, and she just got through the court and they wanted to terminate her parental rights. So we need more information to help you out there. This room is full of great people dropping in. And I thank you for all the emojis and everything else. Now, one of my rules is you need to get an attorney. And I want to thank Mr. Davis, who produces this podcast, who can be reached at 888-888-6582. He is a licensed dependency family attorney. He's been fighting CPS for over 35 years. He has fought them both in civil court, state and federal civil court, and won. And he also has gotten your children back. Okay, we have a caller in. Good evening, and who am I talking to?
Hey, this is TJ, but I'm actually a male, though.
You're actually what?
I'm a male.
Oh, okay. Are you the one from Utah?
Yeah, I'm the one from Utah.
Okay, glad to have you here. Shall I call you Tail or Jan, or do you have another name?
You just call me Tori.
Tori, okay. Glad to have you,
Yeah,
Tori,
Tori,
from Utah. That sounds terrible that they terminate your parental rights. That's wrong.
No, they didn't. So they didn't terminate my parental rights yet. But no, I started with trial in April, and it just ended Wednesday. So we didn't have enough time to pretty much finish closing arguments because the assistant general attorney that works for the state of Utah, she's been promoted to be a judge. So Wednesday was her last day to fit in that role. So she's going to be a judge in a different county. So our closing arguments will be, my attorney has to have our closing arguments and by July 9th, and my attorney said from there it should be up in at least 10 to 30 days until the judge makes a decision, but she's going to want us to be inside the courtroom for her to make her decision. So I probably won't know anything until probably like August.
Well, here's my question. The attorney general that's in your case, why are they involved in the court case, the attorney general?
Well, I know AG is the attorney general, right?
Well, yeah, but why is the AG at a lower court? That's only dependency court. That'd be at the attorney general, be at the state.
To be honest, I really don't know like the proceedings of, because this is my first radio with the juvenile court system. So I
right. Yeah, they're bad, but usually you have a judge that serves on the bench. Then there's the social worker attorneys. There may be one or two, depending on the amount of social workers. There's the children attorneys. How many children are there?
That's two kids. So I know that's a common item. That's the attorney.
So you have two. You have two attorneys for one for each child, and then is your wife with you on this case?
Yeah, she's with me.
So each of you have an attorney. Did you both go out and hire your own attorney, or are you using a court-appointed attorney?
Well, at the time, pretty much court-appointed.
Yeah, that's where your big mistake is, because they will not fight for you, and they're just going to go with the flow of what's happening in court. And they're really busy because they have a caseload of maybe 30 clients. They won't have time for you. They'll give you 5 minutes of the day you're hearing, but they won't talk to you ahead of time. And they're not going to fight for your kids or your rights or anything. So you need what's called a family dependency, a professional family dependency attorney. It's one you got to pay money for, but you need someone that can fight for you, because you're in a system that is just like open heart surgery. If you can picture open heart surgery, that you're going to have your heart worked on, that's what CPS is. So if you have open heart surgery, you get yourself a professional doctor. You're not yourself going to cut your chest open. You're not going to let a lay person like your relatives or a friend open your chest, and you're not going to have a plumber or an auto mechanic. You're going to get what's called a professional doctor. And so what you need is a professional attorney that will fight for you, somebody that's experienced. And I have an attorney right here, Mr. Vincent Davis at 888-888-6582, that you can call in and set up a consultation. And he will help you navigate and tell you how to get your kids back and what the do's and don'ts, because you're with an agency that lies, does deception, and will take away your children solely for the money. They're in it for the money only. That is the thing that they're in for.
Yeah.
And so what were the allegations?
So here's the crazy thing. So the allegation was it was neglect. It was child neglect, child abuse. Those are two allegations.
Say those again. Say those again.
It was child neglect and child abuse.
Wow. So what were you neglect about? What were you neglect about?
Neglect? Well, they actually criminally charged me temporarily. They criminally charged me for child abuse and child neglect because me and the mother at the time we got into it, 2 years ago, and
you had domestic violence. You had domestic violence.
Yeah, that was the initial actually like criminal side charge, but that started this whole thing.
And who did that? The police?
Yeah. But yes, the police initiated those charges.
So that is a separate court. That's not the family court.
But no. What I'm saying is, with those charges, they end up calling DCFS. They came out to speak to both of us pretty much.
Yeah.
Tell us outside the story of what was going on, this and that, and they made their country decision. It took so fast, like it was like within like 30 minutes, they wrapped up. They wanted to sign some piece of paper, this and that. I was like, "What's this piece of paper for?" Well, it was actually a removal. It was removal of the kids, but I was like, and it was crazy because it was a Sunday, and I was like, "Well, I don't see no judge signature."
That's right. It's not a warrant. It's not a warrant. It's not a valid warrant. Good eyes.
Yeah, so I was like, I don't see no judge signature. I was like, I know no judge is not in the office at like 3:00 in the morning, a.m. You know, for that matter, you know.
Right.
So he was like, "Oh no, the judge is office." I was like, "No." So we went back and forth, just arguing, yelling. It was like, "No, it's not." I was like, "There's no judges open 3 a.m. in the morning. That's already done signed these paperwork." So I'm like, "Where'd you get this paperwork anywhere from?" He said, "Oh, we've been had it." I said, "I know you've been had it because you had it from somewhere else, you know, but the judge didn't sign you did."
Yeah, what they do is they make copies of other people's warrants, and they try to buffalo you and tell you that it is legit. Unless it has a wet signature and a boss stamp, and it clearly spells out your name, what you're being accused of, the names of the children, and the location where they're going to investigate, and what they plan to do. They plan to search the house, talk to you, or let me see, yeah, talk to you or take the kids away, and they have to have a warrant.
Yeah. So yeah, I get you. So fast forward, right? So I end up getting incarcerated for about a couple months at the time, this and that, due to the same allegations as charged as the police officer, pretty much charged me with those charges. You know, that's what.
Well, that was the domestic violence, and that's in criminal court. But CPS, the dependency court, doesn't do criminal charges. They're not a criminal court.
No, yeah, I know they don't do criminal charges, but I just want to like get you a better understanding of what happened and how it all unfolded, pretty much. So pretty much the DCFS courts, they ended up taking those two charges, and they proceeded in this case as the child abuse and child neglect. They got it from the same charges as the criminal charges.
They do. They mirror it. They mirror it. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah. So I got those. This is crazy. This is a crazy thing. I got those charges dismissed, dropped without prejudice. That means they can't go back on the charges. That's criminal side, right? I got those charges dropped. The abuse, the child neglect, and the domestic violence. I got all three of those dropped. I was released within like 4 months of being incarcerated. So
they actually sent you to jail for domestic violence?
Yeah, they did.
Wow.
No proof. Yeah.
Because usually they get what's called a restraining order, and usually the wife gets restraining order, and you got to stay away from the wife, and then you'll have your day in court to prove, she has to prove you're domestic violent.
She didn't show up for court, which I had no clue about that. You know, I didn't tell her not to show up, but she didn't show up, so they had to dismiss that previous charge. So what I'm saying is that didn't add up, right? So
yeah.
If criminally they charged me with, I got charged with domestic violence, with the abuse and the child neglect, and they all dropped it as I was trying to tell my public defender for my juvenile cases of what happened in my criminal court. I was like, hey, well, they dropped all this and that. I was like, there's really no need of me doing this DCFS court, you know? I mean, because the criminal side dropped their end of the bargain, you know?
Yeah.
And when Lord, she tell me, oh, it doesn't work like that. This criminal and stuff like that is different. I was like, yeah, I know it's different, but they found me not guilty, pretty much, you know? They dropped the charges.
Okay. Well, they found you not guilty. They didn't find you not guilty of abuse or neglect. They found you not guilty of the domestic charges.
No, the criminal found me not guilty for all three.
Is this involving 3 children?
This is involving my 2 kids.
Okay, but you have counts against you, don't you, on domestic violence?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm trying to understand because you know the whole picture, and I'm hearing bits and pieces. So, you have a criminal case that you said that was thrown out of court.
Yes, I had a criminal case that was thrown out of
Now,
court.
why did they incarcerate you? I don't understand how you could be guilty. Did you have a trial by jury?
Okay, so here's the point, right? Police can pretty much, they have authority. They can charge you pretty much with anything.
Well, I know they can charge you by anything, but there's something called due process, and you have to go through the legal system. You have to have arraignment. They have to select a jury, and they have to prove your case that you caused domestic violence.
Well, yes. So what happened was on that, like I say, on the criminal side, right? So during my 4 months that I was in there, I had an order to show cause to see if those charges was going to be supportive of the violence of me that we can go on to further in trial, because I already pleaded within like 2 months of being incarcerated time. I pled not guilty. So when you plead not guilty, the next step is to have an order to show cause here for the charges that you're alleged.
Okay.
That you did pretty much. So I had that order to show cause hearing.
Okay.
They did not file me as what you say was the defendant, pretty much.
You are the defendant, and your wife is the plaintiff, right?
Yes, I was the defendant because I got arrested at the time.
Okay.
The victim at the time.
Right.
So after that order to show cause hearing.
Yeah, but how did you get sent off? How did you get sent off to prison without a conviction?
No, I didn't go to prison. I just say I went to the county jail.
Okay, you said you're incarcerated. Incarcerated usually is a prison.
No, I just say incarcerated. I don't know.
Okay, well, okay, that's all right. You're just in jail and you were released out on a bond. Did you get released on a bond?
No, I did not get released on bond because they gave me a no bail. It was a no bail, so I didn't get released.
Why? They're fleeing. They're worried that you're going to run or something. Do you have a criminal record? See, I'm trying to figure out why they would take all these fast.
I don't have a criminal record at all.
So why would they say no bond? I don't understand that.
So in the state of Utah, I'm in the state of Utah. I don't want to put race a part of this, but I mean I am black. I just want to tell you that. And the DA of the criminal side, he say I am a danger to society. That was his argument for me to get no bond, because I had a couple of bond hearings, to show up in court to get released, before my order to show cause here. So I had a few bonds to see if I can eligible to get a bond to get out, He kept saying, "Oh man, I'm a danger to society, this and that," with no track record at all.
Well, what did the police write up?
What did the police write up?
Yeah, what did they say?
Like I said, I was charged with 3 things: domestic violence. They wrote up that, and they wrote up the abuse and neglect of child.
Well, the abuse and neglect is something that CPS writes up, not the police.
Yeah, but they can also criminally charge you with that,
Wow. I guess so. Not too often, but.
I'm in the state of Utah, but it's a little bit different here. Like I say, they can work both ways.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a little different here. I'm in the state of Utah, and I know it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I know it may not make too much sense, but yeah, this is
Why did you get an attorney? I'm not talking about a public defender. I'm talking about a real attorney.
I did.
Oh, okay. So you didn't have enough money. That makes sense. I was just trying first to, because see, without a bona fide attorney, you're screwed in the system. And the state of Utah, I don't think is a good entity.
It's not.
I think you're in the long. And yes, being black is bad. I mean, my show, I always talk about a recent killing of a black airman who's 24 years old, and he opened the door and point blank, the Gainesville, Florida sheriff shot him 5 times. Why? You know, he was just saying from the door. And yes, he had a gun, but it was pointed downward. It wasn't pointing at the officer. And the way the officer handled that was totally wrong. He was coming out for domestic violence because the landlord or someone complained that there was yelling and screaming in the apartment. But the way it was handled, it was stupid. I mean, the sheriff, did not try to investigate or listen to the side of the walls or anything. He goes in front of a door and bangs a couple times. He could have been blown out of the water. You don't approach the door like that. And if you do bang, you need to identify yourself. So he could have gone to the left of the door jamb, banged on the door and said, "Hi, this is the sheriff department in Gainesville. We've heard that there's domestic violence going on. How many of you are in there?" And the guy could have said, "Well, there's just one." And then he could have said, "Okay, I want you to unlock the door. I want you to lay face down, your hands behind your head. And if you have a weapon, put it off to the side." And then he can slowly open the door, peer in, and then make corrective measures where he can handcuff him, then search the rest of the place. But my scenario with this is never open the door to anybody because you never know what will happen to you. So I know that the guy was, because he was black, he was shot. I know that.
Yeah, for sure.
And the sad part about it, his mother buried him a couple weeks ago. He's from Alabama, but he was working in Florida at the Air Force Base. And he's only 24 years old. Why? And it could have been avoided. They're trying to hush it up. He has been suspended, but they won't identify the race of the sheriff. They released a body cam, and he's on the phone with his girlfriend on FaceTime, and she saw the horrific fin of her boyfriend dying on FaceTime. So it's a horrible thing out there, and I know what it is there. So, oh, good. We got Treasure Man from New Jersey. Hi, Treasure Man. He's been on the show before. So we have Natalie from West Hollywood and Treasure Man, and right now we have this great guy from Utah, Tori. I'm sorry, Tori from Utah, that has lots of things going wrong in his life. It's sort of he was accused of domestic violence, but then it was dropped. And then he has neglect and abuse. And what did they identify what the abuse was? Did they identify the abuse?
No, I don't. I forgot. So I'm sorry, but yeah, this was 2 years ago. I forgot what the report, because like I said, the police wrote the entire report, so I can't go from word for word. I forgot how they used it pretty much in their terms,
Yeah. So it's been going on for 2 years.
Yeah, so it's probably coming. It's pretty much coming to the end. Like I said, I should know about August at least. Like I say, closing arguments will be submitted, and it have to be no later than July 9th. That's when the judge wants the closing arguments.
Okay, but what's the recommendation?
Oh, the state recommendation to termination of parental rights for both of the parents. That's a state recommendation, and also that's my caseworker. That alleged caseworker that she swear that she helped me throughout this whole case, pretty much, and that's her recommendation. And the guardian ad litem, that's her recommendation too.
Yeah, the guardian ad litem is no help. They work for the social workers. I think it's a waste of time. They sometimes call them CASA. They sometimes call them other names, Ombudsperson. So they're supposed to be a neutral party that's supposed to help parents and children, but they don't really. You're going to have to get an attorney. I don't know if you have an attorney now, but you need to get a bona fide attorney because you're trying to do open heart surgery with these clowns and you're using your own knife on your own body and you're just going to mess up and kill yourself.
Yeah.
Do you have a, you could talk to Vincent Davis and he can help you. He's our attorney and he does go out of state and stuff. He right now for consultation would only charge $60 for 30 minutes. He'll talk to you for 30 minutes for $60. All you have to do is call in 888-888-6582. Tell him Bob Pace sent you, and when you speak to Mr. Davis, say that Bob Pace sent you, and he'll talk. He will help you strategize, and he'll talk about defending you. But you definitely need a real attorney there.
I've been hearing about this show for like a few months now. You know.
Okay.
About this.
Okay.
Yeah, and also I'm pretty much if things don't go my way, I'm looking for like a appellate attorney, pretty much as in like an appeal, pretty much.
Well, you don't want to wait for appeal. You want to get a dependency CPS fighter attorney. You want to get somebody that will fight for you. And appeal is very risky because when you do an appeal, it isn't based on the facts. It's based on some type of criminal proceeding that was done incorrectly, meaning you can't do appeal and retry the facts. You can only do appeal, for instance, if something wasn't submitted or something overrode something. It has to be if the judge did something wrong or the attorney did something wrong. It's got to be some type of technicality the way the case was handled.
Yeah, that's a lot of technicality in the case. I mean, that's why I say that's why I'm strongly leaning to appeal if things don't go right. I mean,
now, did you, when you had your two children taken from you and your wife, where'd the two children go? Where are they?
They're in state care.
So they're with a foster family.
Yeah.
Why not be with next of kin or a family member? Were you ever given the opportunity to place them with a family member?
So I'm gonna go back to the point in time that I was incarcerated. So early in the case, right? I was incarcerated for the first few months of this case, and that's when they normally start kinship. You know, if they pick out a family, this and that, like, hey, which family member do you want to be kinship?
Right.
I never had a say so. So I got out. I got released, so I got incarcerated. Right. I got incarcerated.
Well, you got put in jail. Go ahead. You got put in jail.
Yeah, I got put in jail of September of 2022. I got released in December. I didn't know anything about kinship until February of the next year of 2023. And I was asking, I was like, well, what is kinship? Pretty much. I didn't know what it was at first, because I was asking my lawyers and stuff. I was like, because she was asking me, did my caseworker at the time, did she come out, do a case action plan with you? I was like, no, she didn't do a case action plan with me. I was like, no. I was like, what does that mean? What is the case action plan? Because I didn't know what it was either. And I'll say she didn't do that, nor she didn't come out to the jail. And we didn't discuss anything about kinship. So I found out from my attorney what was kinship, and I didn't get a say so. So they ended up doing the meeting without me.
Wow.
That's also against my rights.
Yeah. Well, without an attorney, see, you need your public defenders just failed you entirely. You did your open heart surgery, and now your heart's no good.
I heard that.
And so right now, what I would recommend you is to spend $60 and talk to Vincent Davis and see what he strategized you should do.
Yeah.
Because he's a good man. He has a podcast, and he'll be fair with you, and he'll give you a good 30 minutes that he'll tell you what you need to do. But you definitely need to get some type of legal help because everybody's against you now. You're in doo doo, really big time.
Definitely.
But there is hope. I don't want you to feel discouraged. There isn't.
Yeah, there is hope. I still got hope in this.
Now, what's happened to the mother? Where is she involved in all this?
Same thing. Like I said, we're both fighting for.
Well, is she still married to you? Are you guys divorced? Or are you just partnership? Or what are you to each other right now?
It's pretty much co-parenting. That's it.
Co-parenting. So you're not married. Were you married to her?
I never was married. No, that wasn't.
Okay, so we got the custody arrangement between the two partners here.
So yeah, we got that situated out.
Oh, you do? What is the arrangement?
Yeah. Of custody?
Yeah, what is the custody arrangement?
Like if we get the kids back, right?
Yeah.
So we've already came out to agreement pretty much. I will take the kids 4 days 1 week. Next week I do 3, so it's like a 4-3-3.
Okay, much. And so you're going to co-parent your child till he becomes 18.
Yeah, at least 18,
okay,
yeah,
okay. Sure. And
so
that
would be established already before the reunification. When, like I say, if everything goes the plan, but I always have a plan B. If it doesn't, like I'm saying,
mm-hmm.
this case was a roller coaster for me,
Yeah, I can imagine. So what are your questions I can help you with? What are some more things I can help you with?
Yeah, so question. So I got a question. My main concern, is, so you remember when we first started talking about, I told you, I was like, the AG, she's getting promoted to be a judge.
Okay.
So I was in trial, like I said, up until Wednesday. Last Friday, we sat in, I sat on the bench pretty much, as they was questioning me pretty much throughout the whole case of what was going on, this and that. So she was pretty much asking me pretty much questions and stuff like that. And she ended up, because a few other black people pretty much in the courtroom at the time, she ended up saying some racist, I'm not going to say the words, but she ended up saying some racist slurs,
Well, is she black herself? Is she black herself?
She's not black at all.
Okay. So,
and the hard thing to fit into it, the judge didn't say anything about it.
Really? Is a judge black or white? Is a judge black or white?
The judge is white.
Okay. Well, that's wrong for the racial slurs. And you can go.
I got a big concern, and I'm kind of afraid, not just for me, what I mean? Because like I say, I won't be the last person to deal with DCFS because, like I say, she just got appointed, this AG, right? She just got appointed to be a judge in Salt Lake City.
Now, what kind of a judge is she going to be? Is she going to be the dependency judge or criminal judge? What kind of a judge is she going to be?
She's going to be a 3rd District Juvenile Justice Judge. She's taking over someone else. She's supposed to be taking over someone else's position.
Okay. And so, at first, she was the prosecuting attorney. Is that what she was?
Yeah, that's what she was.
Yeah, she was prosecuting you for domestic violence. But the domestic violence is over now, right?
No. What I mean, as the AG, no, she was the AG, for the state of the juvenile courts. Not the criminal side.
Well, then how did you run
Like I
into
say,
her? How did you run into her if you're not a juvenile?
because it's termination of parental rights. I mean, I've been had a DCFS case. She's
Yeah,
been the AG throughout the whole case.
Okay, but I never heard of attorney general involved in the social service branch of a child protection system. They,
I know. Utah's different.
I'll have to look at that.
Yeah, she's assistant attorney general of at the time of Davis County. Her name is Sandy Clemens. Yeah,
Okay.
Like I said, I never heard of her. I'm actually from Georgia, but I moved to Utah a couple years ago. So.
You said Candy Clemens?
Yeah, Sandy Clemens.
Sandy, okay.
It's spelled Sandi Clemens, Clemens.
Okay.
That's her name.
Yeah, that's no problem.
So yeah, she was the assistant. Yeah, I just looked it up. She's been the assistant attorney general in the Utah Attorney General office since November of 2012.
Yeah, 2012, and has served as the sectional director for the Salt Lake Child Protection Unit. Okay, now I know what she's doing. Okay, she was the Salt Lake Child Protection Unit. So they have a in the protection of the CPS there. She's the director. So that's pretty higher up there. So why was she called into your case? I'm still trying to figure that out.
That's support. I don't really know. Like I said, I don't really know that. Like I don't really know that type, but because I've never even heard of a assistant attorney general in DCFS case.
Yeah.
Like I say, she's been up throughout the whole case.
Well, the governor appointed Sandy Clemens. It was a government appointed. It was an elected position. And
she was just appointed as a judge.
Yeah, she was appointed Attorney General in Utah General Office since 2012 and served as the sectional director for the Salt Lake Children Protection Unit from March 2020 into July 21. And she has a bachelor's degree from Weber State University and a Juris Doctorate from St. J. Quincy College of Law, where she was awarded the David T. Lewis Award for Outstanding Achievement in Clinical Program, as well as a pro bono initiative volunteer certificate. And so she has been selected by the governor to serve as a juvenile court judge in the 3rd District.
Yep.
So now I know how this all is coming together. So she excused herself from your case because she's now going to be a judge and no longer the director of CPS.
She had to step down. Her last day was Wednesday. Her last day was Wednesday in my case. So, because she could no longer fulfill those assistant attorney general roles because she just felt that whatever happened to be a judge in Salt Lake. So, yeah.
Yep. Well, the governor
makes sense to you?
Yeah, the governor of Utah is a woman. I see that.
No, it's a man, Spencer J. Cox.
Really?
That is the woman. That's a lieutenant governor.
Oh, it says here, Governor Spencer Cox, and it shows a picture of a woman.
No, you probably have to look on Google again, but it's actually a man, Spencer J. Cox.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, that's kind of a mute. That's not going to help out here. At least I see how the puzzle's coming into play. So, So what you need to do is, when's your next court date?
So I will not know my next court date till sometime, hopefully, cross my fingers, sometime in July.
Okay.
And that next court date will be the judge's decision whether I get my kids back or not. So it will be somewhere after July, the July 9th date for closing arguments that we're supposed to submit into the judge by July 9th. So, yeah, I don't really know a court date.
Well, if you're not been convicted of domestic violence and you have no, I mean, what are you being convicted of? I'm still confused.
Okay, what are you being confused of?
Okay, you say you're convicted, but then you say you were found not convicted of domestic violence.
No, I never said, no.
Okay.
I never said I was convicted. What I'm explaining is, so at the beginning of the case, I was charged with domestic violence, child abuse, and neglect. DCFS only took those two charges as the abuse and neglect. They took those charges to make a case against me back in 2022. That's why we're here now. DCFS didn't mess with the domestic violence. That was on the criminal side. So what I'm saying is, those three charges that I just told you, they're done for.
Okay.
They're done for. So
well, then what charges do you have left? The CPS charges.
The CPS charges is the only two. Is the child neglect and the abuse. That's
see, they're going to have to drop those if you had a valuable attorney, because he'd sit there and say, you have nothing against my client because you dropped the juvenile charges, so you need to drop the CPS charges. That would be my argument in court before the judge.
Yeah.
You've not convicted this man of nothing. He has no criminal charges. So the charge that CPS did was predicated on the domestic violence, which has been dropped. So there's no CPS charges.
No, I mean, I tried to say to my attorney what happened in my criminal proceeding, and the only thing she told me is like, DCFS court juvenile case is different than criminal.
Well, also she's not. She's just a public. She's just a public defender.
Yep.
And you're going to go nowhere with her.
Got you.
So you need to get a real attorney.
Definitely agree.
Well, can you talk to Vincent Davis to see what he recommends?
I can do that.
Yep. You write that number down? You write that number down?
Oh, I have his number already. Yeah.
Okay. One moment, please. Don't leave me. I'm going to talk to Treasure Man because he's had 3 text messages. Treasure Man, who's from New Jersey, said they charged me what was called corporate punishment, whatever that means, against my child back in 2006. Well, that's physical abuse, and corporate punishment must have been too heavy on the spanking or using a whip or something there. I never saw any of the paperwork or a warrant. I always had the escape plan, but I was caught off guard. Then Treasure Man says, my grandchildren are with foster parents. Well, I'm confused now. 1 minute, Treasure Man, I think he has his children. Now he's talking his grandchildren. So I don't know why he's involved. They claim I don't have enough room. Oh, the foster parents plan to move out of state, but I don't support that. I currently have one of my grandchildren. I guess Treasure Man is a grandfather, and I guess his son or daughter is the one that has a problem with CPS. And then here it says CPS here in New Jersey referred to their lawyers as attorney general on my case. Wow.
Oh, so they got attorney general too.
Yeah, they're saying that's what they referred to them. I never heard of such a thing, but I'm never too old to learn something. So, wow. I'm a grandmother referred to there, and I had the case. Oh, I guess it's a grandmother. I thought it was a grandfather. with a name like Treasure Man. I thought it was a man, but it's a grandmother whose grandchildren, I guess, are involved in CPS, and I guess they can't be placed with her because I guess she didn't check out. I don't know. Treasure Man, I need you. I need you to tell me more information, or call me back tomorrow at 10 o'clock in the morning, and I'll try to help you also. Um, Going back here, I had a case back in 2006. Well, I'm confused. If you're a grandmother, why are you being accused of doing anything with children? Because your children are grown up, I assume, because they have children. So, Toby, your plan of attack is you're going to have to get an attorney to get the CPS case dropped. And it'd be well worth spending the money to have an attorney that will sit there and show the court that, look, his domestic charges are dropped. The CPS only charged child neglect and abuse because of the domestic charges. And so you've had a custody, and you and your wife agree that you're going to be taking care of the child 4 days with you, 3 days with her, and then flip-flopping it back and forth. And so the only way you're going to materialize this and get it straight out is to get a real attorney. And so I recommend you call Vincent Davis and talk to him, and he will help you out on this case.
Even though this case is this far along, and
well, I don't know the statute of limitations because I don't know what you've. I mean, it sounds like someone did a big boo boo here, because
somebody messed up somewhere.
Yeah, why would they still have you answering to these CPS? Well, I know CPS is corrupt, so they'll do anything. So I'm not surprised about them. I've told all my listeners about the pink ladies of Prescott, Arizona, that wore pink T-shirts that said they're professional kidnappers on the front of their T-shirt, and on the back they said, "Do you know where your children are at?" And they paraded around Walmart and all the other stores. They were busted, and so was the director, and 25 years went out the window. But CPS social workers are corrupt. They are corrupt.
They are. Yeah, my caseworker didn't help me at all. I mean, like I say, she didn't help me with a case action plan. She didn't help me with the.
Well, they don't want to. They want to make money off you. They want to make money off you. They need to make their $80 billion a year business. They need to make in Orange County, it's $20,000 they get per child per month. In LA County, it's $15,000. In Washington, it's $5,000. So it varies from state to state. But the social workers get bonuses and everything else.
Wow.
I mean, that's all my social worker would talk about is the bonuses.
No, but the bonuses.
Yeah, they need to make the money because that's how they work on. They have no scruples. I've only had one social worker come on the show, and she talked for 20 minutes or 40 minutes, and she was nice, but what she said didn't really agree with the other people that had called in that they had cases too in Maryland. So I know that social workers are corrupt. I mean, all you have to do is see the article on the pink ladies. And recently, a social worker on her Facebook page put an ad, which I thought was disgusting. She posted an ad from 1848 that said "Black children for sale." Now, that was a time of the Civil War, and I don't know what her rationality was to put something on today's media. That's wrong. That's wrong. And that's a social worker. That's their attitude.
Yeah, and the crazy thing about my social worker, I mean, throughout this whole case, I've been asking for actually another social worker. Like I said, she didn't have help at all. She's been going to the judge like, oh my God, I'm so scared. He's scared of me, this and that. I can't give him rides to any of his appointments because they want me to do all this treatment and stuff like this. It's ridiculous. They want me to go through a whole roller coaster. I need to do this. I need to do this. I need to do this. They want me to take medicine. Like medicine, why I never take medicine?
Wow. Now, is your social worker still talking to you, or what is she doing with you?
The only time I talk to her is the visits, because I only get 2 hours visits a week to see my kids, and that's crazy.
Are they supervised visits?
Yeah, these are supervised visits because of last year she told the judge that I scared her and she needs supervised visits. So yeah.
Wow. Because have you told her that your case was dropped, your domestic violence was dropped? So why are you still charged with neglect and abuse?
The state never, the state as in DCFS, they never, they still kept those 2 charges, and that's, like I say, that's their proceedings for this DCFS case. That's been going on for almost 2 years.
Wow.
So yeah, that, like I say, my public defender, whatever you call her, she say the criminal court and DCFS is 2 different things. So DCFS, they can do pretty much what they want to do, pretty much.
Yeah.
Whether the criminal side drop the charges or not.
Yeah.
And when my son was born, my second child, they ended up saying sibling at risk, which is just, it was unbelievable. How is a sibling at risk? And my criminal charges already dropped. So I thought my son would be sibling at risk. So that's why they took my second child.
Okay. That pretty much got to the end of my podcast. I'm only gone to supposed to go to 8:00. So I'm going to have to wrap this up. But Toby, I want you to keep calling me back. You know where I'm at. You can call me morning or nighttime and talk further about your case. I want to help you. And yeah, I will welcome Faye. I will call you. Faye just came in from Richmond, Kentucky. So I want to thank Natalie from West Hollywood, Faye from Richmond, Kentucky, Treasureman from New Jersey. Treasureman, you need to call me in the show so you can work on your case better. And Toby, I want to thank you from Salt Lake for coming in and sharing your story. And I hope you do call Mr. Davis because he'll turn your life around. With that said, I want to say good night, God bless, and keep fighting for your kids. This is Bob Pace signing off.